We're going to go Inside the Birds, one of the hosts of the Inside the Birds podcast, along with Jeff Mosher, who is
hitchhiking,
pedaling for gas right now on the side of the road. Anybody have a gas canister?
I have one. He's playing a guitar, asking for change on the expressway.
He's joined every week by Adam Caplan on the Inside the Birds podcast. You can listen to that on our website, 97.3 ESPN.com. I know Adam and Jeff also have a pretty big event coming up on Thursday at the Chickies and Pete's. We're going to be at the Chickies and Pete's in Egg Harbor Township tomorrow. Inside the Birds with Jeff and Adam are going to be up at Robbins Avenue with Todd Harrimans, and more information at Caplan NFL. And he joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline as we go Inside the Birds. Adam, welcome back, pal. How are you?
Guys, good to talk to you. Was listening a little bit earlier through the app. By the way, the app is fantastic. I had a long ride on Monday to go somewhere, and I listened for you guys on the app through Bluetooth in my car for 2 hours, and I could tell you, it was interesting to hear you guys between Mike, should they run, should they pass? You were pretty passionate about they should have given Jordan Howard the ball, but Mike, believe us or not, for the second time in one games, including the playoffs, the Eagles actually ran it more than they threw it in the first half, which was kind of what we were suggesting last week on Inside the Birds. So they did a little bit. They ran a little bit more than we were expecting.
Yeah, and I was saying I don't mind how they use Sanders as much as I would have. I like the guys who kind of, let's use Howard, let him wear himself out, let him pound on the defense, and then let Sanders kind of go up against a kind of a worn down defense.
Yeah, they don't look at it that way. So I hear you, and that's kind of the old school way to do it. They're about getting some juice in the run game, and I know Sanders' numbers don't look good overall, but he hits the hole faster. Jordan Howard's offseason is they would third power back, in this case Howard, 2 years ago, let that guy carry them to a victory, and that unfortunately has not happened so far because of the situation where they've had to come back as they have in the last two games. But I agree. I was listening before I came on there. This is a really critical game. You do not want to go to 1-3. Head into Week 5, though. Week 5 against the Jets is about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, this early in the season, I'm not that kind of guy that has that must-win and critical and all that stuff, but, man, this is about as close as you're going to get me to be irrational here, Adam. This game has
I'll be that guy.
I can hear it in your voice, man, you were really – and I heard Brian, it's a good subject to talk about. You do not want to come home, and, they'll have a little bit of time off with the mini-bye, but you don't want to come home 1-3. Look,
a lot of it's because of the math around you. There's just a lot of depth in the NFC this year.
And the schedule.
Right. But the first thing is always your division. They did beat the Redskins. They haven't played the Cowboys yet. They haven't played the awful Giants yet. I don't know. I mean, the Buck defense didn't show up last week. But, the deeper you go into this, because the NFC, and I told people before the season started, I thought the NFC is way better than people are giving it credit for. And we're seeing that. Now, I did not know the Packers' defense would be this good. They fought their way to having great defense. I mean, they're two starting outside linebackers they got in free agency. Adrian Amos, you might remember from Penn State. He's one of their starting safeties, $9.5 million a season. Darnell Savage from Maryland. We'll see this kid. He's gotten off to a great start. Their D line's very good. When you watch the game tomorrow night, Ken Clark is a very underrated defensive lineman, one of the better young defensive linemen in the NFC. And they're just playing efficient football. Mike Patton's doing a great job. Now, with Alshon Jeffrey playing, I'm very interested to see how they come and attack this Packer defense, which has just been playing way better than anyone. In fact, I would say it's probably
Adam, the drops in this is why this team is struggling. I mean, the drops are definitely hurting this team. 4 drops by 4 different receivers, all 4 drops in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. I mean, there's some big moments where they're dropping the ball.
Yeah, a couple things here, and I'm glad you brought this up. Number one, they tied the Dolphins last week for the most amount of drops in the league at 7. Dolphins at 7. You got 11 drops in 3 games. Here's
Did you say the Eagles have 11 drops in 3 games?
Yes, they do. I got that from the league. Yeah, got that from someone I trust who sent me all the drop numbers. So, yeah, that can happen. Goddard dropping that pass, I mean, that was a shocker. I don't buy that he wasn't practicing much, and that's why he dropped it. No, you see the ball, you get the ball, and you grab it.
Adam, I haven't caught a football in 15 years. If you throw it to me like that, I'm going to catch it.
I mean, really. And here's another thing. So one thing I want to bring up here. They have a new receiver coach in Carson Walsh. This is his first year running a room in the National Football League. This is something to keep an eye on. This is something that Jeff and I had talked about. We're big into coaching changes. Gunter Brewer did not work out. They told him to go find another job. He went back to college football. This is a guy that Doug Peterson, Carson Walsh, they promoted. There were some opportunities to hire a veteran coach from the outside. They decided not to do that. This is something to keep an eye on. These drops can't continue. And Zach Ertz never drops passes, basically, and he dropped one. That was a bad one. That was surprising. Zach is so sure-handed. And Mikey, you brought up, look, at the critical time, I mean, they're dropping passes, but the Nelson Aguilar thing, it's just puzzling. It's had this problem throughout his career. You can't really make any sense of it because 2 years ago when he had the issues in 16, when Doug Peterson sat him down, that was because of the off-the-field issue, I think. He just lost all of his confidence. Now he's having to play extended minutes, and he's really lead the receiver core. He made some big plays, but he's come up small as well.
Yeah, Adam, Mike brings up the drops, and Mike, Jeff, and myself talked about this on Monday and even a little bit yesterday, but I said the drops aren't just something that I want to breeze over, and I posed this to the both of them on Monday, being that discipline, fundamentals, focus, determination, all the corny cliche adjectives that you use to describe, an elite NFL team, I can't use with this Eagles team. And I think the drop passes could potentially be an indication of something deeper with this team. They're committing bad penalties. They're turning it over. The special teams touchdown. How do you assess that?
Yeah, Ryan, it's a lack of discipline. I think it's overall. You mentioned penalties, drop passes, mental and physical errors. You don't quite understand it. And this is a team 2 years ago won a Super Bowl. Last year they had to late in the season get in the playoffs. They won on the road at Chicago. So this is a team, and a lot of these guys are back. This is a team most people thought would be a Super Bowl contender, and they're not there yet. And it's the lack of discipline. Look, we didn't even bring up the injury yet. I mean, this with injuries. I don't buy this stuff about guys not practicing enough, and that's why they're making mistakes. It's complete nonsense. Because you're a professional. I agree with what Peterson said. It's just ridiculous. But I think, Ryan, we need to keep an eye on this. If this continues, then you could start pointing the fingers about how they're being coached, because it's too early to start pointing fingers with this stuff. But I think we need to. I don't think you just throw it to the side. I think you make it.
Inside the Birds, you can listen to that, of course, with Jeff Mosher. You guys talk about Jim Schwartz, the pass rush. It's time for him to find an answer. Adam, it looks like he's tried a lot. 5-man rushes, moving guys all over the place, circling guys inside, outside. Is there an answer on this roster?
That's a good question. Deshaun Hall is the guy we've been calling for. Give him some snaps. They had him active but didn't play him last week. You're going to pass, but they need some juice off the bench. They don't have that right now. Vinny Curry's an older player. Josh Sweat is giving him some decent snaps, but he's not a high-end pass rusher. There's not much more he can do. He is throwing the kitchen sink at him, but as a person said to me I really respect, he's like, you got to start overload blitzing to one side where you think you have an advantage. Like I thought what Jim did a great job against Atlanta is he knew in the A gap the Falcons 2 weeks ago had real problems. So what did he do? He shut up Sendejo up the A gap, who was really good as an add-in blitzer. He's doing what he did last year with 3 safety. This is nothing new. He's not doing anything we haven't seen him do before, but he's just doing a lot of it, and it's just not working. It's his job to find out. I think that was really my point. It's not so much a criticism. You can't just accept that, okay, well, you're trying. Well, you got to try something different. This is why Jim Schwartz, by the way, is one of the highest paid defense coordinators in the National Football League. They pay him well to do it. He's got to figure it out. He and Philip Daniels, by the way, another new guy, another new D-line coach, a guy who's running a room for the first time in his career. He was their assistant. Now he's running it, and he's got some pressure on him.
Adam Caplan, Jeff Mosher, tomorrow night they'll be at the Chickies and Pete's Mayfair, 7 o'clock. You can go out there. There's a watch party with special guest Todd Harrimans. They'll do the Inside the Birds. You can meet and greet out there. They got some great stuff happening, some awesome content on the website, at Caplan NFL for more information, and, of course, at Jeff Mosher NFL. Why don't you help the guy out? Get him a gas can, man. I think it's actually
with that. Yeah, I was unaware of this. I hope Jeff's okay. Yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow night. Jeff and I can't wait with Todd. We're getting started at 7 p.m. $25 gets you in. Not only does it get you in, we're going to be breaking down everything that happens in every quarter. We're going to do a Q&A from 7 to 8. Any question, you ask it, we'll answer it. We're also going to give you information that did not make it to your podcast. I've got like 6 scoops I'm going to put out for only people that are there. And it's going to be a great night of football. I cannot wait. I've never done a watch party before like this. This is going to be great because you're going to be watching with us, and this is going to be a good time. I can't wait.
That's tomorrow, and, of course, Adam will be back to recap it all and take a look at it inside the Birds.
Guys, thank you.
At Caplan NFL here on the Sports Bash.